Hi, how's it going, guys? We're here talking some Penn State football, previewing Rutgers here. Um, Going into this week, definitely feels weird. Most people at the beginning of the season, if they would have been told going to Rutgers would be considered to be a close game, they would have told you you're crazy. But this is a game that I think is going to be close. And you just look at kind of how Rutgers has improved and we have fallen off. You start to think, okay, um, this is going to be a close game. And talent wise, as far as recruiting goes, we have a much bigger edge. But as far as in game coaching goes, Greg Schiano, I think, has shown to be much better than James Franklin. And it's just going to be a matter of what's going to win out, the talent or the execution in game, because I think that's what it's going to end up being. Um, but, at the end of the day, if we can just get a win against Rutgers, even if it's a close win, I'll be happy because they are not that bad. I mean, they beat Michigan State. Michigan State just beat Northwestern. So it's something where every team in the Big Ten is at least formidable enough to beat most other teams in the Big Ten, except maybe Ohio State. It's you may put Indiana in there with Ohio State as well, but the Big Ten has a more level playing field this year than it's had in a long time, I think. And every game is going to be tough, even if you're like a pretty good program in the Big Ten, which we're not right now. So um, Greg Schiano has definitely built a nice culture in his first season. They're no longer pathetic Rutgers. They're now okay. We go up against Rutgers. We're gonna have to make sure we don't screw up because Rutgers could possibly beat us, and that's great for your first year. I think most people thought that it would be kind of like normal Rutgers this year. Like Schiano would just have in his first year try to build the foundation, but he's done even more than that. He's kind of made them into the most competitive team that they've had in a few years now. And I think that if I'm a Rutgers fan, I'm excited for the future because I think he can get them back to like a bowl team, which is what they were when he was coaching. But I don't think they'll ever get back to having as good of records they had when he was in the Big East because they're obviously going up against lesser competition. So when they went like a 9-4, 10-3, or whatever, um, 15 years ago, that was different than what it is in the Big Ten. But I still think he can get to a competitive level where it can go like maybe 7-6 or 8-5 consistently, which is a heck of a lot better where they are at as a program, even just last year. And I think that that's where Schiano is taking this team. Um, like I said, when you look at the talent gap, there's no reason why we should lose this game. But then when you look at the coaching gap, then you can understand why. Um, And I think Penn State will win this game. I think they'll eke it out in the end. I wouldn't be surprised if Rutgers is winning at halftime, or they're even winning going into the fourth quarter. But I think Penn State will come back in the end. I think our depth is just better, and it's just one of those things that if you get a win, great. Would be 2-4. Um, just trying to start to build momentum heading into next year. Who knows? Maybe if you win out, you get to go to a bowl game. If you get to go to a bowl game, then maybe you get to go 5-5, so it's not even a losing season. So, there's still some options on the table um, for some decency this season, and I think that this team still has a lot to play for in the sense that for pride and just for making this record look as good as possible because this season is definitely gone when you're talking about playoff or Big Ten championship aspirations, but we can still make this season non-pathetic if we can get to 4-5 or 5-5 if we get to a bowl game. So I think that this team still has some stuff to play for. Um, yeah, and Rutgers has always been a team that also that I've always kind of been a little bit irked by because when you see certain teams blow Rutgers out, and then when we play them, it's not even like we blow them out. The last 2 years we've beaten them 20-7 and 27-6, and those 20-7 is actually a solidly close game. Like it's not really like a blowout. It's not really like a close game necessarily either. But I mean, they played with us in 2018. They played with us that year, and then in 2019 they played with us all the way until the fourth quarter, and that's kind of when we expanded our lead. That's when Sean Clifford and Etor Gross Matos didn't play, and but still, we've kind of been in battles with Rutgers, or at least a lot more than the rest of the Big Ten seems to have had with Rutgers the last few years. Um, we had a tough time even with Rutgers in 2017 with that really good team we had with Saquon and um, Trace and all the other like Mike Gesicki. We had uh, I think it was a close game heading into halftime. I think it was only like 7-6 at one point, and it was relatively late in the game. And then we finally started expanding the lead, and we won, I think, 35-6. But it was that was a battle for a while, and I think that Rutgers is certainly capable of beating us because not only this year, but we're falling off, and they're improving. But even the last few years, when we were a top 10 team, top 15 team in the country, a good competitive program and maybe top 20, whatever if you want to call us. But then Rutgers is the lowly Rutgers. People make fun of them for even being in the Power Five, and they still kind of gave us fights. So I think the Penn State really needs to be ready for this one because this could be one of those games at Maryland where they could dominate us. And we got to be careful that doesn't happen, and we were able to win this game. All right, well, thank you guys. Um, we'll be talking maybe some more Penn State football this week. It depends. Um, Tune in on Saturday. Watch Penn State versus Rutgers. We are Penn State.